Hello everyone, today's video will be slightly different. As the time goes fast, I feel like I would like to speak how the Pixelmator evolved instead of another tutorial. So if you're into something different, bear with me, and if you don't, you can always check my earlier videos of Pixelmator Pro tutorials. Pixelmator Pro didn't start as a pro app at all. It started as a small idea from two brothers in Lithuania, Aidas and Saulius Dailidė, who from a young age were fascinated by computers. According to the local profile, they even experimented with the old Macintosh hardware to understand how it worked. This hands-on curiosity would quietly shape the philosophy behind everything they built. In the mid-2000s, Photoshop dominated serious image editing on Mac. It was powerful, but heavy, expensive, and often disconnected from the way casual or semi-professional photographers worked. The Dailidė brothers weren't trying to replace Photoshop outright. They wanted something faster, simpler, and more Mac-like, an editor that felt native instead of industrial. That philosophy would quietly shape everything Pixelmator later became. The first version of Pixelmator launched in 2007. It was a relatively small app, but it immediately stood out because it didn't try to mimic Photoshop's interface. Instead, it leaned heavily into Apple's technologies, namely core image, core animation, and GPU acceleration, at a time when many apps were still largely CPU-bound. This made Pixelmator feel fast. Not benchmark fast, but responsive in a way that mattered during the actual editing. Sliders reacted instantly, brushes felt light, filters previewed in real time. These details weren't flashy, but they were noticeable. Throughout the late 2000s and early 2010s, Pixelmator slowly gained features, layers, masks, retouching tools, color correction, but it still sat in a strange middle ground. It wasn't a toy, but it wasn't fully professional either, and that was intentional. Instead of chasing all features that Photoshop had, the Pixelmator team focused on workflow comfort. They designed tools around how people actually edited photos, quick fixes, visual feedback, minimal friction. In many ways, Pixelmator felt closer to Aperture or early Lightroom than Photoshop. A big shift came in 2014 with the introduction of Pixelmator for iOS. This wasn't just a mobile companion app, it was a serious editor in its own right. Around the time, the brothers were invited to attend Apple events and keynotes, reflecting a growing recognition of their work within the Apple community. This period also marked Pixelmator's growing alignment with Apple's ecosystem. New macOS features often appeared in Pixelmator early: metal acceleration, wide color support, and later machine learning. But the real turning point arrived in 2017 when Pixelmator released Pixelmator Pro. This wasn't just a major update, it was a complete rebuild. Pixelmator Pro was designed from scratch with a single window interface, contextual tool panels, and much stronger emphasis on a non-destructive editing. Instead of static dialogues and floating palettes, tools adapted dynamically based on what you were doing. The goal wasn't to overwhelm users with options. It was to surface the right controls at the right time. One of the most distinctive aspects of Pixelmator Pro was how it treated machine learning, not as a headline feature, but as an invisible assistant. ML-powered tools like ML Enhance, automatic horizon leveling, subject selection, and later background removal were designed to save time and not replace the skill. Over time, Pixelmator Pro evolved into something surprisingly capable. It gained raw editing that rivaled dedicated photo apps, it added vector tools without becoming a vector editor, it introduced advanced color adjustments while keeping the interface approachable. One particularly notable addition was non-destructive color adjustments, which allowed users to stack and reorder effects without permanently altering the image, a feature once reserved for much heavier software. Performance remains central. Pixelmator Pro was optimized aggressively for Apple Silicon from day one. In 2018, Apple named Pixelmator Pro Mac App of the Year, recognizing the team's dedication to intuitive design, speed, and usability. Later, the team introduced Photomator, a photo editor optimized for photographers, which Apple also recognized in its App Store awards. By the early 2020s, Pixelmator Pro had quietly become a serious alternative for photographers, designers, and digital artists who wanted power without complexity. It wasn't loud, it wasn't trendy, but it was dependable. Then, in late 2024, Apple acquired Pixelmator. There was no dramatic announcement, no flashy keynote segment, just a confirmation that Apple had purchased the Pixelmator team and their apps. In the retrospective view, this acquisition felt like less a corporate takeover and more like a logical conclusion. In a way, Pixelmator always had felt like an Apple app that didn't officially exist yet. Looking back, Pixelmator Pro's history isn't about disruption or domination. It's about quiet consistency. From a small Lithuanian studio exploring computers in their youth, to a polished, modern editor running at the heart of Apple's ecosystem, Pixelmator Pro evolved by refusing to be louder than necessary. And maybe that's why it endured. Not because it tried to replace everything, but because it focused on doing one thing well and then kept doing it better. Thanks for watching.